I would say that, yes.
Okay. Are these recognizable names, names that people would know?
There are certainly names that you would recognize, yes. There are names also that you might not recognize, or there are names that, like, you might recognize as someone who's followed this case, but then, you know, your mother might not recognize because she doesn't care about the intricacies of the case. But there definitely are some names that you expect.
Her giddiness aside, which was super inappropriate. Let me just put up a list of some of the names that we do recognize. Rudy Giuliani, Jenna Ellis, Trump's lawyer, Brian Kemp, governor of Georgia, who were summoned before the grand jury. No one thinks Brian Kemp is in any trouble. Obviously, he said no. Michael Flynn, Newt Gingrich, who was a former U.S. House Speaker, Lindsey Graham. He doesn't seem to be in that much trouble. Mark Meadows, former chief of staff. Brad Raffensperger, obviously, he's the person who also said no. John Eastman, who was one of the architects of the scheme. Cleta Mitchell, who we know is also another architect of that kind of stuff, and David Shafer. Is there somebody that you see on that list who should be particularly worried?
I think John Eastman should be worried. I think David Shafer should be worried. And certainly, Joy, I think David Shafer should be worried because the reporting is telling us that David Shafer should be worried.
And he is the Georgia Republican Party chairman. Donald Trump is actually going to speak at the Georgia Republican Party. And I want to bring Hugo Law on that. You think that he should be concerned?
I think he should be concerned because he doesn't have an immunity deal. He was split off from a group of electors earlier this year because there was a perceived conflict. That means that he could face some exposure. That likely means he could have some exposure here that others in that group didn't, even before we were talking about possible immunity deals.